Hello, my name is Lara, and with that, welcome to my first ever Booktube video. And I thought for the first video we could do like a Booktube Newbie tag, where I will be answering questions that will hopefully make you get to know me and my taste in books better. And with that being said, I would say we jump right into the first question. By the way, I have all these questions written down in this cute little green journal. So, the first question is, why start this channel? And the answer... Whoops. And the answer to that is I just love books. I love reading books. And my obsession and love for books just really became so much stronger over the last few years. And since none of my friends read, first of all, as many books as I do, and second of all, the types of books that I do, there is no one I can really talk to about my books, and I would love to talk about my favorite books and recommend them to others. And so I thought I could create this space where we can discuss our favorite books, exchange book recommendations, and yes, basically just geek and nerd about our favorite books and book series. And I hope that I can achieve this goal of just building a wholesome, cute book corner on the internet where everybody feels safe to exchange all of their favorite books. Yeah. The second question is, what's unique? And I think what's kind of unique is that I truly read every genre. I have fantasy, romantasy, romance, contemporary fiction, as well as more like self-help / knowledge books, and also classics, where I also have like German classics, and I would love to also introduce like classics to more people, or like make them more accessible. And of course I will not only be talking about classics, and I think that it might actually be more on the rare side, but I would love to just introduce them to the broader people, I guess. Okay, the next question is, why do I love reading? And that is a big and hard question to answer, but I think the most simple answer I can give is that I just love to escape into new worlds, or like I love to kind of like see what other people might see, or like live in their point of views. And I think that reading is a really great way to also to do that, to like expand your horizon, I guess, by stepping some steps in the feet of other characters, if that makes sense. So basically just like kind of living 1,000 lives in one by just reading tons of books and experiencing many stories. The next question is about what type of challenges I could face with this channel. And I think the biggest challenge is that I currently am studying in university, and that sometimes like university is not a constant flow of how much workload there is. So some times in the year are just really intense, where I sit at my desk the whole day studying for extended periods of time, and then I don't get to read as many books, because when I constantly read scientific texts, scientific papers, I then just can't read anymore in my free time. And so maybe the regular uploading or the regular reading of books would be my biggest challenge, I guess. When did I start reading? And to be honest, the answer to the question is like as soon as I could read. I've always been a child that reads like a ton. I have always loved reading. So yeah, I do not remember a time where I was not reading. Maybe in like, is it called middle grade school? I think so. The age of like 11 to 14, 15, that was a bit of a break in my reading time. Because, you know, it's the age where everybody tries to be super cool, and reading is not seen as such a super cool thing, or at least it was back when I was that age. So it took a dip there, but otherwise I think I've pretty much been reading all the time. And with that comes the question of my favorite genres. And as I said, I read pretty much every genre. I also have, I think, books of every genre in my home. But when I recently reorganized my bookshelves, the most books I have are in the genre fantasy/romantasy. And then I also have quite a few romance books. And surprisingly, I also have quite a lot of surprisingly, I had to read some for university back when I was studying German. There we had to read a lot of these Reklam books that you will see soon. So I read quite a few of classics there for uni. So, yeah. Then, what are my favorite books? And that is such a hard question to answer. My favorite books right now, I would say, is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid, a book that I will always recommend, but I would also read the trigger warnings, definitely, because there are quite a few of triggering topics in it, but it's just so scenic and so beautifully written. It almost has like these horror fairy tale kind of vibes, and it also deals with trauma a lot, and I think it helped me a lot in like being seen, or like the pain some people experience being seen. It's kind of validating. So then also one book I've reread so many times is The Little Prince. I love The Little Prince, and even though, you know, you could say it's a children's book, I think that even as adults we can get a lot out of this story. I reread it at least 5 times, and every time I reread it, I see different things in it, or I value different scenes more. And it's just such a beautiful, emotional, but also sad story. But that definitely also is one of my favorites. Then I would also have to mention all of the Ellie Hazelwood books. I just love the way Ellie Hazelwood writes. And as a girl in STEM, I love all of her main characters that are also, you know, girls in STEM. And so I love that aspect, but I also just love the funny, quirky writing of Ellie Hazelwood. I don't know what it is. It's like a drug I cannot get enough of. Some of my favorite books are quite dark books. I also just quickly want to mention here My Dark Vanessa. If any of you have read it, it's a quite dark book that deals with a, in my opinion, heavy topic. But I think it was awesomely written. And then I also want to mention this series here behind me. It's The Kiss of Deception. It's the German edition, but The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. Essentially, that was the book series that really got me back into reading at the age 14, 15. It was so awesome. I will also forever recommend this series. It's definitely one of my favorites. Okay, and then I think we will go off to the last part, the book collection, where I will be filming all of my 4 bookshelves that I have around my home. And yeah. Okay, so welcome to the last part of this video, which is the bookshelf tour. So, right here at the top, I have my most pressing TBRs, or like the books on my TBR that I want to read really, really soon. We will see how many of them I will actually read really, really soon, because I'm a big, big mood reader, and so I could also be in the mood for a book, start it, and a few pages later I will be like, no, not in the mood anymore. So I am terrible at sticking to my TBRs, but a girl can try. Then here I have my dystopian shelf with the Scythe series, all of the Panem books, and I also have Red Rising by Pierce Brown, which was my first ever real intense sci-fi book, because I always thought that I would hate sci-fi, but I actually really, really enjoyed this. I think it's a great introduction into sci-fi, because it kind of gives Hunger Games vibes. Kind of next to the dystopian shelf, I have my fantasy slash romantasy that continues onto this shelf and this tiny bit of this shelf. So here I have firstly the pure fantasy that have no or like very, very little romance in them. That is the first Harry Potter. I am starting to collect and reread these beautiful Harry Potter editions. I don't know if the English versions also got these pretty new covers, but the German editions got these stunning new covers, and so the dream is to one day have them all, but they're quite expensive. Then I have my first ever Lee Bardugo book, Six of Crows. Then here is The Priory of the Orange Tree, which for some reason the German editions are divided into 2 books, which interesting decision, but oh well. Then here I have the Clockwork Angel series by Cassandra Clare, and also the first book in her new series. Then I have one of my favorite books ever, Study in Drowning by Ava Reed, and this beautiful edition. It also has great sprayed edges. As you can see, there are a lot of tabs in it, so I really liked it. I just love this book very much. Then I also have the Cruel Prince books. Don't worry, I read the whole trilogy. The third one I just read on Kindle Unlimited, and I still haven't gotten around to buying the physical book. So then I have, I think in English it's Where the Night Stands Still, in this beautiful cover. And then I have the first book in the Darkest Gold series, which I hated. Then I have here the Throne of Glass series, or all the books I've read in this series so far. Then I have Fourth Wing and this absolute brick of Iron Flame that is the German edition. This book is so thick and it was horrendous to get through, honestly. Then I have the first 2 A Court of Thorns and Roses books. Then I have Miss Moon's Club of Extraordinary Witches. And then here is the Kiss of Deception series, which I already talked about. Then below the romantasy, we have one more romantasy book, The Divine Rivals. And then we move on to romance. Here's one of my favorite ever series, especially in the romance genre. It's the New England School of Ballet series by Anna Savas. I don't even know if these books exist in English. I hope so for you, but I am not so sure. If you can find them, definitely read them. If you can't find them, I'm sorry for you. Then I have Binding 13 and all of my physical Ellie Hazelwood books. Below that I have my only Emily Henry book. Then I have another random German romance book, but the great thing about this book, I have to admit, is that a 21 Pilots song is mentioned in it. Because it's the favorite song of the male love interest, and solely for that reason it holds a special place in my heart. Because very rarely 21 Pilots is mentioned in any media, and so when they are, I love it instantly. Then I also have the first Bridgerton book and a queer camp romance. Then I have my Greek mythology books, and then we are here in the contemporary fiction. So I have some John Green, Love Simon, Taylor Jenkins Reid, Daisy Jones and the Six, one of my favorite books. It was such a great experience. Awesome writing style, truly. Some more books, as well as The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and I also have a Kathleen Glasgow book, The Girl in Pieces. Very, very dark book, but it's an amazing book, truly. It was great. Then My Dark Vanessa, which I already shortly talked about, 13 Reasons Why. We will now move on to my classics. So, these are what we call Reklambücher. Essentially, they are classics like Sandman by Hoffmann or Goethe, Faust, der erste Teil, first part, sorry. Yeah, essentially they're just classics in these teeny tiny, super ugly yellow but yet cheap books. Then I have some English classics in these beautiful cloth-bound editions, like The Little Prince or Wuthering Heights, and also The Great Gatsby, Peter Pan, Picture of Dorian Gray, and some more books like Frankenstein, Romeo and Juliet, and Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. Then here we have my horror thriller shelf. I have this whole series because A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is one of my favorite series ever, but the other books are with my mother right now, who I lent them to read them. Here down below I have my more so non-fiction kind of self-help books. And now we actually have to move on to another bookshelf. Then I here have a whole ass shelf with just my unread books as a reminder that I have to read them, even though some of them have been on here for some even 4 or 5 years. So, and on this little kind of bookshelf I still have here are my other more pressing TBRs. They are not as, I don't want to read them as quickly as the ones in the queue, but I want to read them rather soon, which is first of all finishing the Throne of Glass series, and then I also have A Little Life, I'm Glad My Mom Died, Crescent City, the new Ava Reid book, and a new Sabaa Tahir book, as well as another Ava Reid book. And with that are all the books that are in my apartment. Okay, so with all of the questions answered, of course, if you have any more questions, you can always leave them in the comments and I will answer them. But I hope that you enjoyed today's video and that it could give you the chance or like an insight to my person and my taste in books. And I hope that you will stick around and we can discuss our favorite books together here at Lara's Book Corner. Thank you for watching today's video and see you soon. Bye.